I have with me today Mike Jones, the producer for Dead Rising 3 at Capcom.
That's right.
Thank you for talking to
Thanks
us
for
today.
having me.
Listen, for our viewers and listeners who might not be aware, what is Dead Rising 3?
Dead Rising 3 is a huge open world sandbox game filled with zombies, filled with weapons, filled with stuff. So we've just given you this huge toy box, dropped you in the middle, and it's up to you to figure out how to survive.
Awesome. So who is this new protagonist? He's Nick Ramos, but what makes his story so unique that we get to experience it in the campaign?
So yeah, Nick Ramos is kind of our young new protagonist. He's a mechanic with a mysterious past. We actually haven't talked a whole lot about the story, but he's sort of deeply connected to the history and the origins of Dead Rising. And the situation is you're in the city of Los Perdidos, and there's been this mysterious zombie outbreak. Nobody knows how it started. The military's quarantined the city. They've decided they can't control the situation anymore, so they're going to bomb the city in 6 days, and you've got to figure out a way to get out. And as you're trying to figure out how to get out, and you meet survivors, and you run into other enemies and people trying to get in your way, you start to uncover the secrets and the mystery behind the zombie outbreak.
Brilliant. I'd say one of my questions was going to be, like, I want to know how these zombies are still wandering around 10 years after the zombie outbreak started. So this is the city is newly infected.
Yes, it's newly infected. You actually start the game, I think, about 3 days into the outbreak. So there's some stuff that went on before you even got there. But basically, 10 years in the future after Dead Rising 2, the government's had to learn how to deal with zombie outbreaks and zombie infection, and they have this whole chipping system where they put these, chips that give you a predetermined dose of Zombrex if you're infected. But there's also other people who are infected that don't have the chips that are living on black market Zombrex, and they're kind of off the grid, outside of the system. And so you start to run into all these different little factions and start to discover some of the nefarious stuff that's going on behind the scenes.
That's brilliant. So now Dead Rising 2, 2, you're saying that's only 10 years ago, not the original Dead Rising, but Dead Rising 2 is 10 years ago.
Yeah, so Dead Rising 3 takes place 10 years after Dead Rising 2 and the Fortune City outbreak.
See, I was under the impression it was after 1, so it's
Yeah.
even longer into this horrible outbreak.
And well, you'll see cameos from previous games, characters too, and you'll what have they been up to for 10 years?
That is exactly what I'd love to know. Are they going to play a major role, or just a minor, or
no comment? No comment. Yeah, we haven't talked a whole lot about the story. We want everybody to just kind of play it for themselves and experience for themselves.
That's brilliant. So Dead Rising 3 has 2 game modes. You've got normal mode, which has autosaves, no timed events, and Nightmare mode, which is closer to the original Dead Rising.
Correct.
Which is your favorite mode?
Oh man, so obviously I like a challenge as a gamer, but Dead Rising 3 is a huge game, full of stuff, full of content, and I love playing co-op with my buddies, right, through any game. And I think I'm going to prefer to just play the regular story mode because there's so much stuff to explore and so much stuff to do. You don't want to be on a schedule for having fun, right? You just want to get online with your buddy, mess around, and kill thousands of zombies.
And your character progression actually transfers between the two, doesn't it?
Yeah, so in co-op, our second co-op player is actually its own story character. So this guy's name is Dick, and he's a trucker who's broken down in the city of Los Perdidos, and he's trying to survive just like you. And so not only do you save your own story progress, but you actually asynchronously not only do you save your character progress, you actually asynchronously save your story progress. So if you're completing missions as a client, as Dick, in somebody else's game, once you get to those missions in your game, you can skip them or you can skip ahead to those missions, and you get credit for the story mode progression when you're playing co-op. This is a big improvement for us in Dead Rising 2. The co-op was really just a clone of the hero character, and you didn't get to save story progress. It was just kind of for grinding, your level. So this time, co-op is much more integrated. It's part of the story. Your co-op character shows up in the story, and it's a much more fulfilling experience.
Brilliant. Is it only 2-player co-op?
Yeah, it's 2-player co-op, but a lot of people don't realize how huge our world is and how many thousands of zombies we have and thousands of weapons and physics objects and just stuff. And networking all that between 2 players seamlessly is huge. It's been huge. So we've rewritten our engine for the Xbox One and for better networking and co-op gameplay. And so that's been a huge undertaking for us, is getting all that working, silkily smooth.
That's awesome. I haven't actually seen it on the show floor yet. That's what I'm going to be doing next. But I'm too busy with interviews. I can't wait to see it. I'm hearing great things.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun showing it off. I mean, we don't get to come all the way around the world very often and show off a game. And when you've been working on something for 3 years, we just announced at E3, so you just want to get it out there and want to show it to people. And so we can't wait to show it off here at Digital Nations.
Oh, totally. Now, the Smart Glass app for Dead Rising basically turns our handheld devices into an in-game cell phone.
Yep.
What are some of the things that we'll be able to do with this Smart Glass Dead Rising 3 phone?
Yeah, so Smart Glass works on any smartphone, any tablet. It's just a free app. You download it, and it gives you additional free content. And yeah, we basically turned your phone into a phone, and you'll get phone calls on your device from story characters, and you'll hear them explain what's going on, and you'll get the mission objective in the world, and you complete these missions. It has additional story that folds back into the mainline story. Completing missions gives you access to some cool bonus applications like store finders, weapon finders, item finders, survivor support that you can call in a field anywhere. We also have military grade support apps like airstrikes, drone strikes, and even military grade flares that you can use to track zombies to a single area. And it also has news ticker and extra kind of story stuff. You'll get text messages from some of the characters too. We also have a map, mission tracker. So we just wanted it to be kind of a full service PDA, but not in the game on the screen, in your hand.
Yeah, like to bring people into the game
Absolutely.
by having a physical thing.
Yeah, and we just wanted to have a button to you press a button and things go boom on the screen,
of course,
right?
yeah.
It's awesome.
No, as opposed to like the A or the X or something.
Yeah.
You receive phone calls and text messages. Can you reply to these? How do you actually communicate back?
Yeah, so it's mostly one-way communication, and we wanted you to be able to sort of be Nick in the game, right? Like to actually answer the device and hear that being explained to you on your device rather than like through your speakers. So we don't have like some crazy Siri voice synthesis like respond back to some crazy AI on the other side that's going to respond to you. We'll do that in the next game. No, so it's going to be a lot of one-way communication follow-up. So if you accept a mission from a character, but then you decide to ignore it because you're messing around with your buddy, you'll get a text message like 20 minutes later, like, "Hey, dude, how's that thing coming along?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, I have that mission to do." So that's kind of how it works.
So there won't be like preset options that you can select a
No, you'll get random calls like in the game while you're
just one-way conversation.
Yeah, and depending on like the state of the world, depending on like which day or mission that you're on, you'll get different calls and different scenarios will show up.
Brilliant. So Dead Rising 3 is a much more open and a much larger world than any of the previous games. How large would you say the game map is?
Well, it's our biggest, most ambitious game yet. It's exponentially larger than DR1. Really, some of our artists have done some comparisons of the geometry in the world, and DR1 and DR2 combined can actually fit inside of DR3 multiple times over. So like DR2 can fit in there a whole bunch of times. But what a lot of people don't realize too is that this time around we have a lot more verticality in the game. So you can actually climb up on buildings, you can go underground in the sewers and through some of the subway tunnels. And so there's a lot more to explore. It's a lot richer world, a lot more nooks and crannies for you to explore.
How many of the buildings are accessible? Are they just window dressing? As you mow through the zombies, or will there be things I can find in each one?
Yeah, so we've actually absolutely tried to focus on density. I mean, that's something that Dead Rising's always been known for. The shopping mall was the first one, and then the casino resort in Dead Rising 2, Fortune City. And so we wanted to retain the same amount of density and same amount of interable spaces and give all those spaces meaning, right? You go into those spaces, you find clothing items, food items, weapon items that are appropriate for that space. So we try to keep pretty strict design dogma about every third building or something needs to be enterable or something like that. So we wanted to keep everything tight and condensed, but not every single interior is enterable, right? Like a lot of them are just like windows on the front that you break. I mean, every space has meaning, right? Every building does have meaning. You can climb on top of it, or you can break out the front windows and like get supplies out of the front of the house or the store or whatever it might be, or you can go in the building and maybe it has a secret passage underground or these kind of things. So our design directive was more about giving all the buildings and all the spaces meaning in the game in terms of gameplay meaning, rather than like, oh, they're an enterable space, right? So that was our objective that we set out to achieve, and I think we nailed it.
Awesome. What are the ways that you're keeping people from going past the edge of the map? Like, this map has no load times, doesn't it?
Right.
So do you have invisible walls, impassable collapse buildings?
No, we don't. We don't have invisible walls. Everything is organically designed, right? So you'll see train crashes, you'll see plane crashes, you'll see traffic car pileups, and the city's been quarantined by the military, right? Mm-hmm. So you'll see a lot of military blockades and things like that. So fictionally, it makes sense that you're kind of stuck in there. Mm-hmm. So no, we don't have any kind of like arcadey game designs of invisible wall collision, can't go further than here.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's all very organically designed, and you'll feel like, oh shit, I'm really trapped and quarantined in the city.
Quarantined. That's enough said
Yeah.
right there. If there's an actual open road that you would think you'd be able to go down, there's
Yeah.
a massive
Everybody would
fence
be
and there's
escaping,
military, you know, of course. There's a river, isn't there, around the city? Is there?
Well, it's actually
is
ocean.
water?
So
It's an ocean?
it's a
Can you
coastal
swim?
town. No, there's no like swim. We didn't invest in our water tech and our swimming this time around. I would love to have swimming zombies in their bikinis, but next time.
Cool. So how will Dead Rising 3 utilize the Xbox One's Kinect?
So we're doing some cool stuff with Kinect. We're doing, now with the higher fidelity Kinect sensor, we're able to detect you sitting down, 2 hands on the controller, kind of hardcore gaming position. We even want you to have to get up and break a sweat and do anything goofy. Very simply, if zombies grapple you, you can just fling them off, right? It's really natural. It's easier than doing like a quick time event.
Mm-hmm.
So that feels really good. We're also doing survivor commands. So if you have a survivor posse with you, you can just simply point at the screen, say go here, attack there, scavenge, and you'll get a little cursor, and it's way easier than like managing multiple levels of menus to say, have this survivor do this. We're also doing audio detection, so if you yell out at your Kinect in your room, all the zombies will like respond to you. So the zombies will respond to noise and light and sound in the game, and the Kinect is actually an extension of that. So if you're making noise, the zombies will know where you are in the game.
Now, if my partner or someone comes along, our best friend comes into the room and starts screaming at the screen to try and attract the zombies to me, is the game going to detect that?
Absolutely.
Or is it only going to
Yeah.
detect
If your
me?
mom comes home with groceries, like all the zombies are attacking you, like Mom. And we're also doing some cool stuff with psychos and bosses. So if you actually dig a little deeper into the story and kind of find out what they're sensitive about, you can yell insults at your screen and like distract the bosses during the boss battles.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite weapon combinations in the game?
Oh man, that's always a hard one. I think I'm a big fan of our fireworks crossbow that shoots fireworks into zombies and you can watch them die beautiful deaths. I also am a big, Street Fighter fan. So we have a bunch of little Easter eggs in the game, like clothing items and weapons, and we made this Dragon Punch combo weapon that allows you to do that Ryuken uppercut from Street Fighter. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
That's awesome. You can customize the cars in this one, can't you?
Yeah, you can do combo vehicles, we call it. So you can drive any 2 vehicles up to each other in the environment, jump out, put them together, and it kind of gives you crazy effects. Actually, one of my favorites is the Roller Hog, we call it. It's the steamroller combined with a motorcycle. So it's like this paint roller of just zombie death up and down the street. You can drive that thing around the city for
That's
hours.
actually highlighted in one of the trailers that came
Yeah,
out.
the trailer that we did for Gamescom.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you need to find schematics for those, like putting the 2 cars together?
So the car system works the same way the combo system does. So you find blueprints throughout the environment. Nick is an auto mechanic to begin with, which kind of explains why he's able to do this stuff. So you find these blueprints which are scattered throughout the world, which are kind of the gateways and the recipes for which things you can put together. And that teaches you how to do it. And once you've discovered these, anytime you have those items in your inventory or anytime you have those vehicles next to each other, it'll have that prompt of that blueprint that you discovered to remind you that you can combine these things. And we have a combo category system where you can actually begin to unlock categories of weapons and substitute different weapons for if you don't have the specific items you need to combine and make a combo weapon. Say you're trying to make a flaming sword and you don't have a sword, but you have a pair of scissors, you could use that instead if you have the blades category unlocked. And so vehicles work the same way. And so as you level up through the game, all the pool of items that you can combine and the stuff that you can like sort of improvise with grows and grows and grows until ultimately you can combine like anything with anything, anywhere, just like on the fly.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
The level of customization.
Yeah, we have like some genius guy hidden away with a Excel matrix spreadsheet that's like figuring all this stuff out.
Can't wait to see some of the YouTube creations that we come up with.
Yeah, we can't either.
The Xbox One video option.
Yeah, the social stuff is great.
Stuff,
We're doing all that. And it's like what's so cool about like these sandbox games is you get stuff in the game that you never planned for, right? It's like people figure stuff out that you've never designed intentionally, right? And we still figure out stuff that we can do in the game like, whoa, that's so cool.
So what sort of DLC can we expect from Dead Rising 3?
Well, obviously we've got a history of DLC. DR2, we did Case Zero, Case West, stuff like that. So we can't really do a prologue since we're a launch title for Xbox One. But we definitely want to extend the experience. We definitely want to give people something to sink their teeth into. We're working with Microsoft right now on exactly what that's going to be, but we don't have anything to announce just yet.
Great. Being that the game was originally being developed to run on high-end PCs, can we expect an announcement for PC anytime soon?
No, we're just an Xbox One exclusive. We've focused all of our effort on developing the best game that we could for Xbox One. We actually rewrote our engine just for that.
Awesome.
And you know, we've got a long history with Microsoft. DR1 was 360 exclusive. Case Zero, Case West were also 360 exclusive. So we've just had a great time working with Microsoft on this thing. And it's really, you know, working on their new platform has really let us make the game that we always wanted to make.
And finally, what things in Dead Rising 3 are you most excited for people to experience?
So I think, you know, for me, what's really, as a gamer, exciting about Dead Rising 3 is just, you know, player freedom, right? So we're not telling you have to take the game seriously, or you have to, you know, it's a comedy game. It's this big, huge open world with no obstructions. We've taken all the shackles off of the memory constraints and the processing constraints and the loading zones of the previous Dead Risings, and we just drop you into this huge open world toy box full of stuff, and you just play how you want, do what you want, and just sort of create your own adventures and gameplay experiences.
Awesome.
And I think that's what the draw is for me.
So this is a launch title for the Xbox One.
Yep, day one launch.
November 22nd in New Zealand. Thanks, Mike, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Tons of fun.
I'm Luke Batt from the Kiwi F.O.R.T podcast, and that was us at Digital Nations. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Yeah!